3 little letters. But one extraordinary experience.
I had the best time there.
I went out there and I just got caught up.
The energy in this place is unbelievable.
It's more than this.
WWE is the #1 sports channel on YouTube. WWE has been a major topic in all forms of social media.
We are being seen all over the world.
على اللقب 摔跤狂人大赛。
What's up, Kids' Choice Awards?
To family.
My wife is Maurice. She is the Mrs. You get it? Ms. and Mrs.
And even more than a spectacle, we are family, friends, heroes. We are a community.
I wanna close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing like I can fly, and don't even think of touching the ground, like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane.
I'm never gonna forget this day.
This was my best day ever.
Brand new.
We are WWE.
It's all right. You're allowed to sit down, Sean. So at this point, we'd love to open it up to questions. And of course, I'm your official moderator, so I'll be asking questions as well. Please just raise your hand if you do, have something.
Before we get started, I have a question. Well, what was the name of the guy in the video in the beginning? What was his name? It doesn't matter what his name is.
That's good. That's good, honey. That's the way to kick us off. Yeah. So, I think, Sean, I'll start with you because you were at the first, please, yes, you were at the first ever Monday Night Raw that took place in the Manhattan Center. So can you tell us a little bit about that night? Do you remember that night? I didn't mean to phrase it that way. What do you remember about that night?
What do I remember about that night?
You don't remember much.
Yeah, I think it was the same. It was a long time ago. I can't remember yesterday, let alone 25 years ago. No, honestly, I believe it or not, I do. I can remember just, again, thinking about, going to live TV, going to Monday nights. This was such a huge change for everything that was pro wrestling at that time. That's not something you did. It was a Saturday morning or late Saturday night type of show. And now we were going prime time live every Monday night. And it just seemed like a whole new world and something, I don't know. I can remember thinking, is this going to last? What's this going to be like? And then not too long ago, we're celebrating 25 years. And it is unbelievable to me. Obviously, let you know how old I am, which is why they bring me to this stuff. I'm where we started, for heaven's sakes. Which this is the before picture, not pretty. Right down there is they're the after, which is very nice.
But that is the truth.
It's been an amazing journey, and it's been something that, honestly, I hear The Rock, and I can remember 23 years old and hearing your dad say the only thing we guarantee here is an opportunity. And I don't know, just thinking that getting to be a part of this place and wondering what it was going to be like. And then 30 years later, last week, I'm taking my family to, Japan for our son's graduation trip. And people know who their dad is, in Japan. And I don't know, it's been an amazing journey. And to have been a part of this whole time it's been awe-inspiring for me, and I don't know, again, it never gets old, and it never ceases to amaze me that, my goodness, wow, we freaking did it. And it really is, it's amazing to have been a part of this journey for so long.
And Hunter, why do you think we've been able to do this? Why do you think this journey has been so successful?
I think it comes down to talent on a lot of people's behalf, you know, whether it's the ability to create stars and create compelling storylines over 25 years, the ability of a show to grow from, you know, a small venue live to 21 trucks now rolling every single night to somewhere around the globe, to put Monday Night Raw on for 3 hours every Monday night, 25 years later, of the most iconic characters that relate in some way to almost everybody in the world, from Hulk Hogan to Randy Savage to Shawn Michaels to Bret Hart to The Rock to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Did I say Undertaker?
I don't think so.
No, like you can't forget The Undertaker, right? Nobody can forget The Undertaker. And then you get to today and you see Roman and you see Charlotte, and you just, these are characters that attach to you emotionally. You live vicariously through their lives, these larger-than-life characters, but now through social media, you can engage with them in a way that attaches you to them personally, and you can see them go through their day-to-day struggles in life, and it's inspiring. It's empowering to people, and I think they watch it for escapism, but there's something that they connect to those performers, and it just makes them feel like they can do anything.
And speaking of social media, Roman, I'm going to jump to you for a second. You know, you represent sort of this world of social media, this interconnected world that maybe Shawn and Triple H didn't have in the beginning. And I'd love to know.
We had payphones.
You did. I'd love to know. You had beepers. You had pagers. How have you leveraged and utilized social media to help drive character development, to drive that connection with the audience, and ultimately drive viewership?
Well, I think, you know, where we are nowadays in this new generation, you know, social media is still a relatively new, you know, situation. And I think we've been able to conquer, you know, that platform of positivity. And, you know, like Hunter was saying, we're able to connect to our fans. It's no longer, man, I wonder, you know, what he's doing. I can't wait to see him on Monday. You can literally follow us and see what's going on in our lives. You can connect with us on such a more personal basis. And I think that drives that connection that we talked about, that magic, you know, that's the magic of what we do, that simultaneous response. I do this, the crowd does this. So I think, you know, with that, you know, social media platform, we're able to show them different facets and different layers to not only our personalities, you know, as characters for WWE, but just in life and what we do and what we stand, you know, as not just characters, but just as humans. And that's the direction that we're trying to take. And you said it, Steph. We're here to put smiles on people's faces, and we want to connect with families and all different types of demographics. And I think, as you can see, you know, and these guys, you know, they make fun of themselves about being old, but these men are pioneers. These men laid down the foundation of what we are doing today. And
no, Shawn legit was a pioneer. A lot of people don't know that.
In a covered
5
wagon?
years older than he is.
this is all I wanted, is create this banter here. So let them go, and it's going to be awesome.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have to tell you, if you don't mind me saying, I mean, I find the social media aspect fascinating, because I wonder, to me, that's unbelievably challenging. I often wonder how we would have adapted to that. I mean, I find it interesting, because it's got to be very difficult to sort of balance that.
I love reading your tweets, though. I'm like, what would Shawn Michaels tweet? And now you're tweeting. No, seriously.
And it isn't interesting. It wouldn't. But again, it is something that, again, I don't know how well we would have adjusted to that. And it is a very fine line between, I don't know, letting them in and not letting in, connecting and not connecting with you, with the character, and how much. Again, I find it fascinating, but I often wonder, gosh, you know, I don't know. I mean, at one time, I probably would have gotten in way more trouble than I should have. Which
you maybe should not have had social media.
Which is staggering, because I got in quite a bit without even trying. But no, it is. I mean, I do, and I think that's interesting as they all go forward. How, again, because the WWE is always sort of on the forefront of that, and you've managed to master that pretty amazingly. And again, I look forward to seeing how that continues to go forward, because again, that's just something you guys, honestly, I mean it sincerely, you have to deal with stuff that we didn't have to. And again, that's something that I do. I give you all a lot of credit for that, because I find that to be a very dicey and a little bit tougher situation for their generation.
Charlotte, you debuted just a few years ago on Monday Night Raw. Can you tell the audience what that felt like, what that experience was?
Yes, so let me give you the backstory. Growing up and when I started in the WWE, all my friends or coworkers would be like, do you remember when your dad wrestled Shawn Michaels? Or do you remember
your dad
his...
being, of course, the Nature Boy.
Nature
Ric
Boy.
Flair. Yes.
Yeah.
No need for the introduction.
Yeah. So, or do you remember when your dad was tag teaming with Triple H, or his first ever ladder match with Edge? And then, 3 years ago, my dad's calling me saying, what was it like to debut on Monday Night Raw and have Stephanie McMahon introduce you? Or what was it like to main event Monday Night Raw with Sasha Banks? Or what was it like to steal the show at WrestleMania? And to have that conversation with my dad is surreal. And then when I first started, all I wanted to do was continue my father's legacy and do it justice. And it really does mean the world to me. But now my dad calls me, and he's proud of me for creating my own and opening the door for women all over the world to do whatever they want in a male-dominated industry.
In what was a male-dominated industry. That's right, past tense. So, Hunter, I'm going to ask you, you made the transition from superstar to executive, and now you are in charge of live events, talent development, talent relations, and creative for WWE. What was it like making that transition, and what is the hardest part, or the part that you love most now about giving back to this next 25 years, this next generation of superstars?
So I think that when you're a WWE superstar, the obviously the greatest part of what we get to do, you're putting smiles on people's faces, you're doing all this stuff, but there's this, it's hard to even put into words. There's a picture of me out front from WrestleMania this year. I noticed it when I walked in today, and what I noticed about the picture is with HD television and camera work now, I noticed that it's a shot of Steph and I from WrestleMania, and my legs are covered with goosebumps. I immediately took a snapshot of it and sent it to The Rock to say, dude, look at my legs. We used to talk about this all the time, the passion for what we do when you have that moment in front of 80,000 people where your whole body, it's electric. There's no other way to describe it, but it just goes on an automatic, and you just get covered with goosebumps. It's just this insane adrenaline thing. Rock sent me a note back like 2 seconds later and was like, oh my God, if it wouldn't be totally weird, I would blow this up right now and put this on my trailer wall as an inspiration. I said, I know that's why I trimmed it in a certain way, just to show my leg, but because it was cold at WrestleMania. But he said nobody else can understand that like we can. It's something of the WWE, right? And that energy. So at that point in my life, nothing greater than that. I can honestly say that step into where I am now, that pales in comparison to seeing a person with a dream. And I'll use Charlotte as the example, and I won't go too deeply into the story, but like of this young woman coming to me looking for an opportunity, but with no direction, with no sort of lost, looking for a path, not knowing why, not knowing how, and seeing her evolve, not only as a performer, but as a human being to the...
Don't cry.
I'm not.
Wait, you haven't heard the end of the story yet. To this amazing woman that's here now that has taken every opportunity put in front of her, just knocked it out of the park, exceeded beyond her wildest dreams to where her dad is calling inspired by her. Little girls, you talk about social media, little girls inspired by her. She will inspire generations of young women to follow their dreams, to think that nothing can stop them. I don't care if it's a male-dominated industry. I don't care what it is, that nothing should stop them. And if they're lost, they're just a step away from finding their path. She'll inspire them to do that. She's doing it right now. To me, there's nothing greater. Anything I've done in my career pales in comparison to watching that happen. To people joke about it on social media that like NXT are my kids. They are. They really are. Watching them grow and become something more with their lives, and now getting to do that with Sean because he's a part of that, so he knows what I'm talking about. Man, there's nothing greater, and knowing that we're continuing that for generations to come, and that she'll be a part of continuing that for generations to come. It is by far, don't get me wrong, it's still cool when you go out in front of 80,000 people, but it is by far the greatest, I think, part of my career so far.
I agree. So you've talked a lot about passion. We've heard a lot about passion. Roman, what is one of your most memorable moments? What are you most passionate about as a performer in WWE when you go out there on Monday Night Raw, when you're in front of that crowd, in front of that audience? What inspires you? What do you feel when you're out there? What's your favorite part? There's like 8 questions in that, but just answer the one you want.
Can we narrow it down
You just pick one.
You know, just kind of based off what H was saying, you know, I'm from a wrestling family, you know, and so many of my family members, my father, my uncle, and countless cousins, my brother, we've all been involved in this business. And just hearing what H said is we're continuing a tradition. And there's a lot of you in here, and there's people all over the world that have these moments and these like memories of like, I remember when I was a kid with my dad or my mom, or, you know, we went to that show, we went to the Garden, we saw Andre, we saw Hulk. These are the type of memories and the moments that we create. So it's hard to really narrow it down because we don't have an off season. You know, this is a weekly thing for us, 52 weeks a year. And it is grueling and it is tough and it's not meant for everybody, but when you achieve that goal, when you create those goosebumps that H was talking about along his thigh area, those are real, you know what I mean? And regardless of what size crowd you've been in front of or, you know, what was the best match, you still get them in the craziest moments. And those are the moments that make you feel truly alive. And when you see that effect that you have on, you know, that lady over there, or the man with his son, you know you're creating those moments that you're going to be a part of for the rest of their life. And I think that's why our fan base is so strong, and that's why it's global, because we've been able to share that connection with so many different people and to see it all the way. And I said these guys are pioneers, but it was happening way before them as well, you know, before we were broadcasting live, you know, and on television. Our tradition, you know, this wrestling and sports entertainment culture has been around for quite some time. So I just feel like every single day that we get to step in the ring, we're celebrating that. And it's more than just us as individuals. It's the creation, and that's the beautiful part of it.
Well, Monday Night Raw has produced over 1,300 episodes, making it the longest-running weekly episodic television show in history. We surpass Gunsmoke, Lassie, and even The Simpsons. Thank you. And I would just like to thank our panelists, you know, for being a huge part of why we've attained that success. Thank you very much. So I hearken back to this notion of audience engagement that you're hearing so much for the second show for your consideration. It's called Mixed Match Challenge, and it was a program that we created. Guys, I want to say thank you. Are we crowded? It's always so hard to organize this part.
Of course, we're bronze in there.
I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to us here today. And most importantly, thank you for your consideration.
Show me